And I just wanted to say a few words about Delson as a teacher. So first of all, I did two 10-day retreats with Delson, and both of them were fantastic. I got so much out of them. And specifically, I would say that Delson's one-on-one guidance was outstanding because he had like this perfect balance of precision and relaxation. In other words, he could give me very explicit meditation instructions, always though with the emphasis on relaxation. And that combination was just really so useful to me during that retreat, and during both retreats actually. The second thing I'll say is his Dharma talks were straightforward but profound. And the profundity came from Delson's intuitive understanding of the Dharma. And by intuitive understanding, I mean his experiential understanding of the Dharma. So his talks really had a quality that I deeply, deeply appreciated. So if you ever get the opportunity to do a retreat with Delson or do some one-on-one with him, I can't recommend him enough.
I sat a 10-day retreat with Delson in which I learned the 8 jhanas and had my first cessation experience. Delson's practice interviews and Q&A were instrumental in what I look back on as a life-changing retreat. In meditation, I regularly discover myself in new territory with a seemingly infinite number of experiments to run or options to pursue, uncertain which is the one that's going to take my practice to the next level. With good teachers, I carefully find a way to try to craft the right question. They may probe a bit, ensure they understand, and then give a small number of pointers by which to prioritize these various options or experiments. With Delson, I got a special kind of pointer, not just in what he said, but how he said it. I remember a few questions in particular in which the simple, straightforward ease of his response suggested to me a couple things that I thought were subtle and may have missed, were obvious, self-evident truths to him. If I glossed over those discoveries, ranging from how the desire to get rid of mental tension often creates mental tension, or how time in J7 may lead to a natural disenchantment as a sign of progress, not of regression, I think I would have lost many, many hours of practice and perhaps never quite benefited from the insight. Delson's kind, simple approach appears to be spoken from a place where truths that have been nearly missed by me are just so obvious and self-evident to him. If you get a chance to benefit from that wisdom, you should absolutely take it.
I have never met a meditation teacher more gifted than Delson Armstrong. Delson and I slipped into a long conversation about meditation, Dhamma, and emerging neuroscience. As I incorporated his guidance into the coming days, my meditation rose to a new and clearer level. I've seen him do the same thing with many people. He has a gentle, intuitive clarity that picks up on nuances of a person's practice and says just what's needed. No more, no less, to reveal hidden wisdom. So, even if the feedback he gives sometimes seems far from traditional, we can trust that it is deeply informed by the Buddha's teaching. This gives him a cogency I trust.
This is Joseph. I created and run the YouTube channel What I've Learned. I've done 2 different meditation retreats with Delson, and he's actually the reason I got back into meditation in a lot more serious way. I had dabbled in meditation for a very long time, doing a bit of light meditation every day, but it wasn't until my friends started doing Vipassana retreats that I started getting interested in more intense, kind of deep end of meditation. And then I had a friend telling me about this guy, Delson Armstrong, who achieved all these different advanced meditation techniques, which were so interesting that certain neuroscientists wanted to study what is happening in his brain when he's doing these things. And so I went to India to meet Delson and do a retreat under his teaching. And from there, I noticed that Delson had this really good intuitive sense of what people are trying to ask. Because when you're talking about these different meditation, these things happening in meditation, it's really ineffable, it's hard to describe, it's hard to understand if you're making progress, if you're not making progress, what does progress look like? And it was like I had a concern, and I didn't exactly know how to phrase it, I didn't exactly know how to express what was going on in the meditation, but Delson somehow seemed to be able to pick up on that and realize what we were struggling with and probably where we are in the meditation, and really give a clear and helpful answer to how to respond to that situation. When I was having trouble expressing, like I said, what's going on, or what I think I'm doing right, or what I think I'm doing wrong, or how should I go from here, Delson was really good at being able to pick up on that and had a good intuition of just where I'm coming from. And so that's kind of the difficult thing about trying to evaluate a meditative teacher, or explain why a meditation teacher is great, because a lot of the aspects of meditation are hard to describe. They're hard to put into words. They're ineffable, right? But that was why Delson was so helpful, is because even in those times where I couldn't quite put into words what I needed help on, or what I wanted to do, or basically asking where should I go from here, he had a good sense of being able to pick up on what I'm trying to ask, what's going on with the meditation, things like that. It's kind of like, if I had to give it an analogy, it'd be something like you're trying to defuse a bomb, and then you have this bomb with all these complicated wires and buttons and LEDs and whatnot. And so I'm trying to explain, like, okay, I've got, this, there's all this stuff on it, there's all these different wires, and then Delson's able to just clarify everything and say, okay, don't worry about that. Is there a blue wire? Okay, do you have the blue wire? Okay, now cut that blue wire. And you say, oh, okay, I can do that. And so, yeah, that's why I think he's a really great teacher, that sort of sense of intuition and really understanding where the students are coming from.
I um, admire Delson as a Dharma teacher, and he has, to his credit, he has this Advaita Vedanta background that is very close to the Buddha's teachings, and with that foundation, he ventured into understanding both the body and mind, and dwelled deeply into the meditation practices. He is Viyatto Visarado. He is learned and expert in Dhamma, and he has this Bodhisattva intentions in his heart, and therefore he is compassionately, very kindly accepting invitations to teach with his gifts of speaking. So he's young in his body, but he's very old in his heart. So I wish him all the best in his Freedom of Mind Foundation, where he will converge neuroscience, research, meditation, jhana, and many more through this organization and foundation. So I will be um, there to support him in any capacity I can. As a Buddhist monk myself, I like to follow the steps of the Buddha, in that we are continuously encouraged to support the sasana, Dhamma. So with that intention in mind, I support Delson wholeheartedly. May all beings be well and happy. Thank you.
In 2016, this young fellow from San Diego shows up, and his name is Delson Armstrong. And it turns out he's had a lot of practice from India, doing yogic methods and these sorts of things. And he's interested in Buddhism, and he does an online retreat, and within a couple days, making incredible progress, just takes to it like a fish to water. I'm showing his reports to my teacher, Bhante Vilma Ramsey, and we're just smiling, going, this is great. I've known Delson now since that time, and he's been teaching, he's written some books, and I certainly hope that everyone gets a chance to meet Delson.